let's call to order the general committee meeting for November 101 Maple Door Drive, North Hendersonville, Tennessee. All the committee members are present, and I would like for everybody else to tell us who they are and who they represent. Starting with Mr. Free.
Keith Free, Planning Director.
JP Finnegan, GIS Technician.
Jim Harrison, CSVG, and I'm here on behalf of Music City Studio.
Russell Riebling, R Squared, on behalf of Music City Studios.
Rich Riebling, also with R Squared, on behalf of Music City Studios.
Pat Campbell, Alderman Ward 2.
Scotty Bush, Hendersonville Fire.
Lynn Ely for Nearwater Properties.
Sarah Locke, Public Works Director.
Jesse Ekanoff, Chief of Operations.
Dave Rumi, Citizen.
Thank you all. Always put accept the agenda down here. Has anybody got anything they want to add to our agenda this evening? Any committee members? No. Okay. We need to approve minutes for the meeting of October 12, 2021.
So move. I'll second it.
Mr. Waters, Mr. Hayes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The approval of our November 3rd special call meeting 2021 meeting minutes.
So move.
Second. Mr. Hayes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving right along. Ordinances and resolutions, 2021-44 ordinance rezoning 6.93 acres located west of Longview Drive and on the south side of Long Haul Pike, Hendersonville, Sumner County, Tennessee, as included in the approved Durham Farms Phase 4 final development plan. So move.
I'll second it.
Any questions by anybody? Hearing none, I would ask for all in favor to say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed. Next, ordinance 2021-45, an ordinance rezoning 0.89 acres located at 1200 Avondale Road, east of Saundersville Road, and on the south side of Avondale Road, Hendersonville, Tennessee, Sumner County.
So move.
So move, Mr. Waters,
I'll second it.
Mr. Hayes. Any discussion? I have some.
Yeah, I have questions.
What do we want to do here?
Yeah, what this is, it's kind of a unique situation. This actually, up until about a year and a half ago, it's been in our planning region and it remains in our planning region. But Sumner County took back zoning authority out in the planning region. So we still retain the ability to approve plats and that type of thing. But we no longer have the zoning. And this was a development that actually a little over 2 years ago, actually rezoned the property to heavy commercial. Since that time, when the county took the zoning back over, they rezoned it to residential. But the people weren't really aware that that's what was going on. So then basically what needed to happen is either they go back to the county and go through their zoning process, or they could ask us for annexation and come through our zoning process, and they preferred to come to us. This is contiguous. You'd think it's in the city right now.
Yeah.
If you drove out by there, this is and the zoning again is what the zoning we placed on it just a little over 2 years ago.
It's all commercial, isn't it?
Yeah, and this would be, I think it would be heavy commercial would be the zoning classification of it.
Is there anything planned to be built on it right away?
I think that's one of the things that the owners want to do. I think they want to build, which there's a lot of that out there, where it's contractors' offices that, you might have a plumber and they'd have an office and then some storage, and it might be like 4 or 5 of those in one building. There's already some of that stuff out there, but that's what I think they have.
Isn't that James Ricker up there on that end? James Ricker? Right there?
That's further up. This is right across the street from the glass company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, where the glass company is, it's just right across from there.
I am just a little concerned because of the glass company, in particular, the traffic at between 3 and 4 can be pretty heavy.
Right.
So I wonder, do you know if it's going to be, you don't know exactly what's going in there as far as retail goes? Would it be a significant
It wouldn't be any retail. It'd be
trucks going in and out.
it'd be like office. It'd be
Okay.
like a contractor's office
Okay.
where you might have a plumber or
Okay, and that's what you
electrician.
said,
It could
right?
be something like that. There's a lot of different uses that it could be. But this particular property is less than an acre, so it's not, whatever building ends up going on it, it's
Okay,
it's not gonna be too significant. I don't think it's gonna have any real significant traffic. impact.
Okay.
If it was 4 or 5 acres, then that'd be different.
And the planning commission was okay with this,
Yes,
supported it 10-0.
yes.
Okay.
Any more questions by committee? Anyone?
So move, we take it.
Same here.
All in favor that we pass 2021-45, say aye.
Aye.
2021-46, an ordinance rezoning 47.2 acres located west of Free Hill Road and on the north side of Forest Retreat Road, and approving the Music City Studios comprehensive development plan to govern the development of said property.
So moved.
Okay, it's on the table. You don't want to speak to it, or us just vote on it? I'd like to hear you speak to it a little bit. I haven't heard much about it, just what I've read.
If you wanna
seen
sit
on
up here,
TV.
if y'all wanna sit up here where you can be heard.
Take a few minutes to get us excited about jobs.
Mainly, I just, if you, Rick Russell, you want to come up?
Yeah.
Come up here. Just wanted to, I'm the project engineer, so y'all know me. This is a really exciting project, but I wanted Russ and Richard to come because they're the project developers.
Yeah.
This is Music City Studios. I believe it, in a lot of ways, to me personally, this just helps to revive and energize the music heritage that we have here in Hendersonville. It's a great campus in Free Hill, in Free Hill Industrial Park. I started to call it Free Hill Business Park because that's what it starts to look like more with this. And the architecture and everything, we took this through with a planned unit development, basically to go through and make sure we had crossed every T and dotted every I with the planning commission. We've done that. We got a unanimous approval at planning commission. I'm very thankful for that. Went through and answered some questions, but this is just from an industry standpoint, from a city standpoint, this is what did Jonathan, would you say, game changer?
A game
So-
changer. That's what I keep hearing.
With that, I know Russ is up here to kind of talk about some of the details.
Right.
And just kind of go through that. I'm here to answer any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. I appreciate it. Thank you all for having us tonight and look forward to speaking to everybody at the mission afterwards tonight. I think one of the exciting things we want to talk about is just kind of the economic impact and what this will be is from a catalyst standpoint. I think we kind of touched on the Regional Planning Commission, but this project really is bringing in the musical heritage that we have, talk about the Ricky Skaggs, Conway Twitty's, Taylor Swift's of the world, and really bringing it to the next level with gaming, film production. And with one of the variants we're asking for is for that height is because the top tier arenas in this country, they're all have to be at 80 feet. So we have to be able to rig up to some of the top global touring acts in the world. Talking about the U2s, Taylor Swift, like we mentioned as well. So we're looking at really a 5-year impact of about 800 jobs over the next 5-year period that's going to be created through this. And Monolith Studios, who we mentioned and y'all probably read about as well too, is kind of the lead partner in this. And Monolith Studios is the founder, do a lot of the LED work on the Mandalorian TV show and some of the others that you've seen around. So it's really exciting. It's a fully funded project. It's a $100 million capital investment. We did a little additional research as well and learned that we're about $35 million in real property as of today. More coming on with new partners and tenants. And, as we mentioned, Monolith is the first real anchor tenant. More and more are coming. We look forward to getting through this process and working with the state, TVA, and others to really talk about how do we take this to the next level, which is bringing in some additional incentives to really get great partners here. And so that's a really, I think, a strong overview. And we're looking at probably $500,000 as well in property taxes to be created as well for the city. So I'll leave it there and answer any questions you all have as well too.
It is normally a really good place to stop when you talk about money coming to the city.
Yes, sir. That's what you, I've tried to.
Yeah, we didn't even send a flag up. You've done this before somewhere.
Yeah.
Richard's back here in the room. I don't know if.
Yeah, and maybe that's a good time to kind of talk about.
Just, thank you for being here. I was just thinking of my former job when I was with the city of Nashville. Was a finance director and was involved in a lot of the economic development projects for Nashville. I'm thinking to myself, if I was in that job, I'd be fighting really hard to get that in Nashville and not let it come to Hendersonville and Sumner County. I think it's just, I think this is really a unique opportunity for your community to take advantage of everything you have here. It's not, it's clean industry. It's the kind of stuff that's not, not going to pollute or do anything. It's just going to generate a lot of high paying jobs and a lot of hotel stays, just a lot of economic development. And I think as Russ said it well, we hope you will see it agree, and we'll approve this and move along the process so we can get started with construction.
Thank you. Mr. Warren.
Well, I want to be sure that there's no entertainment festivals that's going to be created around that at all.
Correct. Yes, sir.
We all experience what's on TV right now about.
Right.
Yes, sir.
It's all contained inside.
It's inside business.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all inside tenants, but that large studio would be where the excitement is, but yes, all
And
inside.
I'm also thinking maybe ahead of time, and maybe the mayor may want to chime in here, the TDOT on that bypass. That's right behind there, isn't it?
We're hoping that eventually these folks will be two right turns and be on Veterans Boulevard. Nobody will have a need to get on Gallatin Road or even Freehold Road.
That'd be another plus, yeah.
I feel like this is a great way for TDOT to start moving along. It's a little faster when I see this big investment that's being made in the area.
That would be absolutely wonderful.
I move. We recommend.
I have one question. You mentioned approximately 800 jobs, and I'm just curious, how many of those do you think might be new jobs to Hendersonville?
I think we're looking at that's a good question. So we're looking at immediate, probably about 300 in net new jobs.
Okay.
In terms of classification of those jobs, let me further look down as we kind of go through the process, and I'll circle back with you and answer that question as we kind of look at it. But let me look through our partnership and analysis to be able to answer that question. But I will circle back with you on that.
Thank you
That's
so
all right.
much.
Yeah.
We are very excited, very excited.
If I could add, if you're gonna make a motion, any direction on this, I hope that you would include in that motion to consider it tonight. Obviously, it doesn't comply with our 2-week waiting limit since it's gonna happen in about 2 hours. But I hope you all would agree to place it on the agenda and consider it first reading.
What's the date of construction stuff,
We'd like to start this year and then get start and end construction before the end of next year. So that's our goal in the next year, moving fast.
In January, right?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
we're working through a lot of detailed design documents and permit documents and through public works and planning. So we really are targeting starting then, and to accelerate the schedule would help us a great deal as far as the first reading tonight.
I would move that we do that and hope for a
That's it.
second. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And we have a motion on the floor to pass this
Yes.
and with expediency that will go on the agenda tonight. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nobody.
Thank you.
Get ready to build.
Great job.
Thank you. Get the rest of the vote.
R squared.
Thank you all.
Can I bring my guitar?
All right, moving along. Trying to move my voice. Ordinance 2021-47, an ordinance rezoning 6.3 acres located west of Rockland Road and on the north side of West Main Street, and approving the Nearwater Place preliminary development plan to govern the development of said property.
I'll second it.
Question.
Mr. Waters.
Near Water Place. This is gonna be there at the exit ramp at Waffle House, right?
Yes.
I'm not gonna speak right to it in this meeting. I'll do it when it comes to full blown back in about an hour. So I do have some questions.
Mr. Chairman, do we know what that property is zoned for at this time?
Yeah, it is currently zoned general commercial plan development. And the two uses on it are a new automotive, a new car dealership and offices. So those are the only two right now approved uses with the current plan development.
That's rezone the property.
Yeah, this is a whole starting over
It's
rezoning.
just
Yeah,
rezone.
rezone and plan development. So it'll do away with the old plan development, which is kind of just a, have you seen some of the older plan developments, sort of a sketch? It's kind of equivalent of what it is.
Are you moving up to ask to speak or you just moving up? Moving on.
A little bit better.
Is there anyone here tonight from this?
Yeah, we have the development.
Want you to answer any questions?
Yeah, if you want.
I'll address it.
No, I'll just wait a moment. I'll get you a bum, okay?
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
What's your name again?
My name's Lynn Ely. I live at 250 Lake Valley Road here in Hendersonville.
Yeah, thank you. I don't have any questions. I am a little concerned just about it being rezoned. But if you have any comments related to that, I'd be open.
Sure. I mean, I can speak as little or as much as you want me to about it. I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version of why we're here today. This property's been in my family for 22 years now. It was planned back then as well for the car dealership, and I will say the plan was very loose at that time. Since that time, there has been interest for car dealerships over the years. Never something that my family's really been interested in allowing to happen or wanting to be a part of. And as things has worked through time, that's gotten more serious interest. And this is a proposal to do something different. It's something, a vision that me and my business partner, I'm in development myself as a career, and me and my business partner approached my father and his partner on the property and said, hey, we think we've got a better use for the property, just to be frank. And we didn't, personally, as a resident of Hendersonville, I didn't like the idea of it being a car dealership. And when we started diving into what we could do with it, we tried to come up with something unique, being that this is more of a big house type concept of a townhome, because it is indeed a townhome, but it's a different type townhome than you're used to seeing in here in town. I've developed townhomes in Hendersonville before, the more traditional version.
Page 69. Okay.
And we think we've done something that's a step up from those more traditional townhomes. We're proposing, they have the look that you see in the packet. We're proposing that they have a gated entrance. We're doing things like cobblestone streets and heavy landscaping to give it a feel like it's been there forever and sort of a classier type development. The property will be 100% maintained by an HOA committee and groundskeeping, so that it has a continuous and clean look from the outside and the inside. And the target here, from our models that we've done, the target here is to find your young professional, or perhaps your empty nester that just doesn't want to have home ownership, but wants to have a very high class and scaled up place to live themselves and still be in Hendersonville and get all the great things about living in Hendersonville. So where it is, we think is an appropriate fit. We're kind of wedged between two apartment complexes and an interstate. We've got the one we butt up right behind us, and then on the opposite side of the ramp, there's another apartment complex. And then we've got the commercial that is out front. So in some ways, you can kind of see it as a convenience. In other ways, it's a hindrance to doing other things with the property. So we feel like we picked a use that will work well for it under the circumstances that we've got.
Question, Keith,
Yes, sir.
page 67 and 68.
Yes.
I'm concerned about the density here. Can you help us out on that?
Yeah, this,
That close?
now this density is 8 units an acre, which we look at high density being between 8 and 15 units an acre. If it was just straight multifamily, like the adjacent neighborhood that's multifamily, it could be up to 15 units an acre, just in straight multifamily. So this is actually, if it would be called anything, it would be kind of a low, high density. So really, it's kind of a medium to low, high density. It's not, we wouldn't consider it high, extremely high density. That'd be something if you had it closer to 15 units an acre.
Okay, 69, down at the bottom, would you respond to that, please?
Oh, this drawing right here.
Down at the bottom with staff requested, page 68, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. A rendering from the on-ramp. Yeah, so what the staff wanted, what the staff knew that what's going to be important in the consideration of this approval for the planning commission and ultimately for BOMA is that a color rendering of what's this going to look like. And so that was just noting that the staff had asked for that information. And I think what happened was we got that prior to sending out the planning commission packets. I think we got that after the submission. So that's why we put that in there and kind of just noted that there's nothing wrong with it. It meets what we wanted. We just felt like that having something from a 3D perspective would kind of show what it looked like versus you can see here on the bottom, that's okay. And I kind of know what that's going to look like. But that a 3D rendering like this gives everybody a clear perspective. Oh, okay, I see what that's going to look like. So that's what that is.
Okay, thank you.
And then what we would do is, if this was approved, it would be a plan development. So this image here, that we're referring to, that's what I would hold the developer to. So they'd have to do a site plan, and that's where we work out all the details. And if they came in with something that was totally scaled down from this, we'd say, no, that ain't gonna work. And that wouldn't get approved as a planning commission because we reference back. So whenever we do plan development, these images are very important because they set our expectation, and you can't just come in and switch it with something, that was like all scaled down and looks simple. And I think that's the important thing about this is because of how visible it is as you're kind of coming off of the 386 spur. It matters what it looks like. It always matters what it looks like, but this is very important. And that's why we asked them to submit that, and they did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna be very visible, especially when you're coming off.
Yeah.
It's gonna be sitting here, be looking at it. Rental units or for sale units, man.
So,
Combination thereof.
yeah, it's a great question because it's something that we're still toying with ourselves. We want the option to have both. What I've committed to staff and frankly, anybody that asks, that if they are going to be leased, that they be long-term leased and they be leased entirely, meaning that we operate it as a maintenance company to make sure it has this contiguous look and is taken care of that way. What I don't want is that if we choose to lease units, that you've got someone that's leased a unit and then you've got someone that's paid $500,000 for a unit next door, and we're dealing, or the HOA frankly would be then dealing with long-term problems. The city may be dealing with problems in that situation. So we've asked for the liberty to either commitment to either lease as a contiguous development or sell in whole as a contiguous development, but neither one in partial. So what we actually do, whether we pick one or the other, is going to depend on market. We know we're at the high end of the market either way. I mean, these things are going to lease close to $3,000 a month, if not already there. If we sell these things, we're talking about $500,000 townhomes. It's not hard to see that by when you start looking at these plans. So we're trying to just realize that challenge on both sides of it and make the right decision one way or the other. I don't know. Honestly, the market moves on us so quickly. We plan to start these things in the spring. That may be different in the spring than it is today, but we've made the commitment to do one of those two scenarios in whole. And that doesn't answer your question entirely, but that's how we
It's
try
been
to.
one or the other.
That's,
Basically, it's what it boils down to.
yeah, it's helped us try to make a commitment to manage it properly if we do one or the other.
Got a motion by Alderman Chairman Brown and a second by Alderman Hayes.
More discussion.
Yeah,
You're chewing on something, so why don't you just go ahead?
I'm concerned. Is it any way we can move this to Boma without a recommendation?
Sure.
Can I make that motion?
Yes.
Y'all want to drop yours?
Without a recommendation? Because I do have a lot of questions. I'm concerned about some things.
I do too, and I'll even mention a couple of them is, I appreciate that y'all owned the property for 22 years and your family's been here a long time, and I'm sure you want to do something very nice here. And it's great timing in that we're just hearing about potentially
Sure.
800 new jobs, 300 to 400 new jobs to Hendersonville. So I know we need places for people to live. And at the same time, we've just approved 247 units and there's a lot of other housing developments that have been approved. And so those that I've supported in the past were either in my district or my ward or right next to my ward. And so I felt that much stronger about how I voted. This is not, however, in my ward. So I really want Boma to vote on this. I'm really torn, to tell you the truth, and I'm not sure I can support it, but I definitely want Boma to hear it.
Sure. Okay.
But so I would second that if that's my motion. I'll second it.
You agreed with everything on fire, public works, everything.
Yes. Yes.
Fire and public works, want to add anything? Parks Department care about adding anything? Let's see if you're awake. We have a motion on the floor to move forward with no recommendation. Do that tonight. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Okay.
Ordinance 2021-49, an ordinance to establish a fund to track all revenues and expenditures of coronavirus physical recovery funds established under the American Rescue Plan.
So moved.
Explain that. You want to explain?
Sure, it's just a mechanism to track revenues and expenses. So it's just a bucket where everything that comes in for the American Rescue Plan and everything that goes out simplifies tracking. It's done through one fund. It's really clean. So it's just an internal control for staff. It's going to cost us nothing. We'll do it in-house. We'll do it with our existing finances. So there's no cost to the city.
Teresa, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ordinance 2021-50, an ordinance appropriating coronavirus physical recovery funds to pay premium pay to public safety employees.
So moved.
Motion and second. Roberson, the sponsor of the ordinance, is not here.
Mr. Chairman, I'm concerned about section 2. Yes, could you explain it?
It's 95.
On the F.
Page 95, section 2. Page 95, section
Yes, sir.
2.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so the reason that we put a definition of what the hours are is because in the guidance from the Treasury, there was a cap of $13 an hour for premium pay. So you couldn't pay an employee more than $13 per hour. And there was a cap of 25,000 as an aggregate.
Right.
So at 100 hours, you're only at $10 an hour. So you're under the threshold that the Treasury set. So that's why we put a minimum of 100 hours so that we're under the Treasury's threshold for
Gotcha.
maximum pay.
I recall this from last night. Pete. You're right. I remember that now. Thank you. Thank
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I work in a hospital now, and they just gave us a raise or bonus the other day, and it was based on 1,000 hours of service for the year. We've been there for 1,000 hours, we got a certain amount of money, and then if you'd been there less than 1,000 hours, you got half that. I was just curious, Are we doing anything for the employees that are less than 1,000 hours?
Not my ordinance.
Should we add that to this ordinance? And should we also think about our public works and our and our parks employees that have worked all through this whole time too? They didn't take the day off because of coronavirus. They were out there doing their jobs, cutting grass, maintaining our city,
This
and
wouldn't
doing all
help
the
them.
things.
This wouldn't help them that he's referring to.
Scotty, how many firefighters?
What if we included them? Yes, sir.
We have 121.
I mean, how many
That's
police
administrative.
officers do we have on duty?
That's administrative staff and everybody. So
You know, we got 121. How many police officers?
Roughly the same.
Okay, so we got 240.
I think it's a
I
little
think
bit more than
they're
that.
pushing 140, 145.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher than that.
So that brings you to
Fire.
260.
But even our employees in our finance department and our planning department, all of our departments that have been here working through this whole ordeal. I mean, they're coach department, they've been out doing coach calls, working on stuff, inspecting stuff, doing calls. I mean, to start limiting it to just first responders, I think we're sort of doing a disservice to our entire employees. Maybe we need to look at the bigger picture and say, those have been here for 1,000 hours for the year or whatever the number is. And then maybe those have been here less, cut it in half like the hospital I work at. That's exactly what they did.
Okay, the reason I asked the question that I did on numbers is the simple fact that we've put up to $300,000 is what this ordinance says. If we're poking at 260 public safety workers, then there's $40,000 left in that pot. Correct, Rob?
So there are some who have retired since
Yeah.
and have been hired on since. So we took cumulative, who's worked during that time period. And there have been some who are not with the city right now, but who worked during that time period. So considering them, 300,000 would cover it.
So we're going to back and give a bonus to a retired employee.
Yeah, so the what was defined was a time period from when the coronavirus started. So all the employees who worked for the city at that time are being considered in this, whether they left last week or they're going to leave in a week or they left 6 months ago. So if they worked for the city during the time of the pandemic, then this would cover that. That was the intent.
And I'm just referring back to my hospital letter I received from them. Said if you worked 1,000 hours this year, you receive the maximum bonus. If you're less than that, you receive half of that bonus. And it doesn't matter if you've been there 2 months, 6 months, or 8 months, or 10 years. So, and I didn't talk about retirees or anybody like that. We just simply talked about employees on the books as of today when they handed out that bonus.
Here's my feeling. Mr. Robinson's not here. This is his ordinance. I would like for him to address his ordinance because we have a lot of questions around the table of who should be in the pot, who should not be in the pot. So I'm going to want to pull this from our agenda tonight and defer it till December and ask for Mr. Robertson to be here.
Great.
Is that good with you all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, the finance chair has a question.
Well, not a question, just a statement that this needs to come before finance.
Does
And we are meeting the fourth Tuesday of this month. So maybe we don't have to defer it as long as it could come,
I have to defer it here, but it needs to go ahead and come to you then if you're going
Yeah.
to meet.
So
this
I'd
month,
like to
but
see
Mr.
it on my
Robertson needs to be there to
finance
address.
agenda for this month. And also there's another ordinance in here that needs to come before finance.
So let me finish. Let's get this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So we're all good to defer.
When's your finance meeting?
In 2 weeks.
Give me a date.
Uh,
That's okay.
23rd, 24th.
It's right, the one Tuesday right before Thanksgiving, so I know it's 23rd.
24th.
23rd.
It's the 23rd.
23rd.
23rd, okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you want to move on to what?
Defer to
I want to
December
defer to our
14th.
meeting in December, but I'm also going to refer it to her committee
Okay.
on November the 23rd because it's got to go through both of them.
And these funds are coming out of the $5.9 million we get from the federal government.
So
Okay.
you're gonna
We'll make sure.
Yes, sir. We're deferring it from our committee till December meeting and referring it to her committee
Gotcha, gotcha,
on November the 23rd.
gotcha.
And requesting Mr. Robertson present, because it's his order.
He called me, he said he's running late, so.
That's fine. I know he was adamant about it, so I'm sure he would like to address it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good move.
Okay,
Can I ask some clarification? Is that gonna be pulled from the phone agenda as well?
it will be.
Yeah.
Potential spam's calling me. Everybody get potential spam? Anybody ever talk to that person?
Yes, sir, all the
It's
time.
car warranty.
Damn.
Wow.
What about your warrant that's up for your arrest because you didn't pay your back taxes or something like that?
Somebody's in jail.
My grandson-
Totally lost my place.
We're on G.
No, I'm trying to get back on the agenda. Here we go.
To G.
No, man, like I'll.
Uh,
Section. I don't know, coming up.
That's a continuation of what we voted on earlier.
All right, we have resolution 2021-51 to call a public hearing on the proposed annexation of territory into the city of Hendersonville by owner consent and approve a plan of services for the same property located west of Longview Drive and on the south side of Long Hollow Pike, Hendersonville, Tennessee. I'll second it. Any discussion?
Keith, can you help us out on that?
Yeah, this is the Durham Farms with the road extension. And this is just the plan of service and the annexation that's associated with what we already approved earlier.
Is that the road going towards Long Hollow?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. I went out there today. Today I couldn't.
Yeah, and it's, the road's going through there. It's all open space. There's no development that's happening right there within this area.
I understand.
For the moment.
But, yeah.
But this is your ward.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
good with this.
yeah, I'm good.
Build it and they will come.
All right,
Fill
all
of
in favor?
Fill of dreams. Fill of dreams.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next is resolution 2021-53, resolution to call for a public hearing on proposed annexation of territory in the city by owner consent through plan services, same property located at 1200 Avondale Road, east of Saundersville Road, on the south side of Avondale Road, Hendersonville, Sumner County, Tennessee. So moved. Discussed this a while ago, so until all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Your other agenda items, a review. We're developed after we worked on our special call meeting. You can get that up.
Yes.
One thing that I wanted to review on it, when we did our final deliberation there. Work 3 and work 2.
She's gonna share that. Yeah, I might, if I can, Chairman, I'll kind of explain what happened on that.
Yes, sir.
Is that the comptroller software that we're using when we had the previous general committee meeting and we kind of worked with the map and everything, on the start point of the existing, it only goes by the blocks. So some of those blocks are a little bit less than what they are currently with the current ward map, and some are a little greater. The area at the very end of the peninsula, in the Indian Lake Peninsula, showed like this right here. But, and that line wasn't moved, but in reality, the current map has it going up along, what is that road? Whatever that, Lake Valley?
Vista.
Yeah, Lake Vista.
That's clean.
So that was an issue that, that line didn't really change, but the software with the comptrollers doesn't jive up with what our existing board map is. It's just like a best fit. So just wanted to I made everybody aware of that. And everybody, all the aldermen, have been given 3 large maps of the actual current ward boundaries.
With the correction.
With the correction, the general committee version that was produced at the last general committee, and the version from the recommendation from the redistricting committee. So everybody all the aldermen have copies of those.
And
That was
all
on that
of
big
them,
map too, wasn't
Uh,
it? It was on
That
the
was
big-
on a big map as well, yes.
and
I
all
think
of
I
them
heard you
show
right.
Yeah.
where the alderman
Yeah,
reside.
and all of them show where the aldermen reside. That's correct.
I can pull it up now if you. would
Yeah,
like.
we can pull that up in
That's
the layer
up
if
to
you
you.
want. You just let us know, whatever you want. We can do just like the other night. If there's some adjustment or change that you want to make or something you want to see, we can do that. And then we're also going to have the ability tonight to do this in the main Bowman reading room as well.
So you've got me back at 103 Middle Lake Drive in Ward 4.
Yes, currently,
And currently, as the redistrict goes, you're in Ward 2. So
you're still in Ward 2, not in Ward 4.
I'd like to get me out of Ward 2 and get me back to where I belong. Not that Ward 2 people are bad folks. I just.
Duly noted, I understand.
That brings up a good question.
Do you want us to put, do y'all want us to put the layer to see where the aldermen
I'm
are?
really disturbed over that.
Mhm.
I don't want to talk about it right now.
Yeah.
I'll do it later, but he's got a good point.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and ask you,
Yes, sir.
how come we got off on this, but what they call it? Interactive,
Oh, with the
interactive
contour?
ward map. How did we get off on that?
Yeah,
We went there, according to my chairman here, for discussion and review of the recommendation from the redistricting committee. That's what we was called for. After we got there, we went into this thing. It blew my mind. That's the reason I
oh,
left.
at the last meeting. Okay,
I contacted the special call meeting.
yes,
To my chairman.
yes,
So we got off on that and
right.
you worked an hour.
Mhm.
I finally had to give up and go home. But it's not what we was called to do, to start with. Going to the agenda.
Yeah, and all the staff is here to do for myself in planning and JP is just to be the professional tool, whether that's with the redistricting committee, whether that's in
Let
the
me
general
answer that
committee or
question
Bowman.
since I'm the
Yeah.
committee chairman and I'm the one that called the special call meeting.
Mhm.
I had more than one person on the Bowman board and some other people and myself that wanted to see the interactive movements of that map. So we could discuss what we felt like we needed to discuss, come up with a good plan. And 3 aldermen are in this room tonight requested that we have Mr. Free and his crew there, which I did. So that's how we got off on it was your chairman decided. to do that.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
And going down here to the bottom, after discussion, Hayes made a motion to send all work put together to Bowman. What all work?
All 3 of the maps.
Huh?
I guess just all 3 of those maps.
Okay. I mean, see what I'm thinking? But I don't know what, because I had to leave. That was done after I left. I wish you'd had the decency to call me and tell me what this is all about, but that's okay.
Sorry.
Wish you'd have had the decency to stay for the meeting.
My wife called me, listen, don't say that. Don't say that, Brown.
I just pulled your floor.
Just, no, you don't pull it.
Pat,
Don't talk about my wife.
and talk about your
Yes, you
wife.
did. That's the reason I had to leave.
Mr. Campbell,
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Regarding the interactive maps and the alderman having access to those prior to any meeting, I did call Mr. Eckenroth and asked to see those, preview them. Well, actually, I started off with Mr. Free and I asked if he could accommodate with me with coming down to City Hall and sitting with staff and going over the interactive maps. These maps are wonderful. You like to talk about paper, try to sit down with a piece of paper and do your math yourself. But we have this welcome to the 21st century. We have these wonderful interactive maps that allow us to move a mouse and click just a little spot, and all of a sudden you change the total numbers. And we can do what might take me a day looking at a bunch of maps, running back and forth, trying to make sure I'm making the numbers work. In about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, if we sit down together and work this out on this map right here behind me, before you now. And that's why I called Mr. Free twice. And he told me, well, the maps are in your book, and these maps right here, 8.5 by 11. Yes, they're here. As you all can see, that's what we had. Didn't have the streets, didn't have the numbers. So I was the one who asked, can I get a 2-foot by 2-foot map that's printed out like this so I can at least lay it on a table and be able to go over it and have better information? And that's what everyone has now in their possession. Thank you very much. But then I called Mr. Eckenroth and I asked him if I could sit down and look at the interactive maps And I was told again that no, I could not because the mayor had instructed him and staff not to do that. Now, we are public employees, we are public servants, we were all elected to the same office. We are all entitled to look at this information anytime we want to. Person cannot just simply say, oh, I don't want you to see it until we go to BOMA. So we can have a 4-hour meeting over here. And I even told Mr. Eckenroth, said, sir, I've been there at 4 o'clock in the morning having meetings. Said, well, I know we have legislation that keeps us from doing that, but if we need to extend our meeting, I'm sure there's a way we can vote it in and move right on and keep on going. So, I mean, we can either spend 2 hours prior to that meeting, work some things out, or we can go in there and get right back into it and go at it. And I have other comments I'll save for in there regarding our district attorney and what he had to say about moving people out of their wards by just simply drawing lines and comments such as that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. The only thing I would like to see is for me to get back and look for.
Yes, sir. And if I'd have known we
Well, that was.
clicked the
that-
button and took you out, I
Well, that
would
wasn't-
corrected it right
the
on
only
the spot.
thing that we did, that was the software that we have for the contract.
That's correct.
So, yeah.
That's easily fixable.
Because it's all block group, it's all block group driven. So whatever the block looks like, that's the thing. We can manipulate it later, but in the actual interactive, we can't do it.
Yes, sir.
You'd like to tell me exactly where or I can put it up on the screen if you'd like, or if you just let me know which ones that you would
Down
like.
one more block.
This one?
Yep.
Like that?
I don't think that's enough.
Just these. This one?
Well, the first block gets me, but let me tell you where that ward is now. It goes to Pleasant View, which, no, go back over to, right there is Pleasant View.
Mhm.
And you go to your right is Glen Hill.
Okay.
No, too far, right?
Oh, this one right here.
That's Glen Hill to the left of the marker and Lake Vista to the right of the marker.
Mhm.
And the between, if you go to the yellow, wrong way, go to the lake.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That is Lake Terrace. It runs up through there. So
Yes.
you got Lake Terrace. Ward 4 right now runs up to Pleasant View.
Mhm.
And across and down Glen Hill and around. No, down lower than that,
Okay.
back where you were. Yeah.
Yes, it includes these three.
Do we need to open up the existing
Well,
map that with your correction?
Mr.
on it?
Chairman, when we looked at that map, I actually made a comment. I said, well, then I was running in Ward 1 when I should have just been running in Ward 2 because whether that map we had before us was incorrect.
Now, and you did bring that up and
I
you
did
were-
bring
you were
that up.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I said, whoa, you're taking out a whole bunch of my people right here. What's going on?
Continue on up.
No, scroll the other way. Scroll the other way.
this way. Go. Hey, you've got me confused where I live.
Blow it up. Yeah.
Blow it up, go up and blow it up. Yeah, go up. There's Lake Vista. Up, north. Glen Hill.
Yeah.
Pleasant View. Up. My house is right there.
Yes,
Which side?
it's on the north
North
side
side.
of the
On
road,
this side,
North side, okay.
so it should have,
on this side.
I mean, I can, it's up to you guys if you want me to
There's
pull
Meadow
up
Lake, I'm right there.
your locations, but
Do you cover over to the lake on that side though?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if
This is
that
all
was all
Ward 2,
Ward
that's
2.
you
Okay.
leave. I go right here,
Okay.
my house, and it goes back this way.
that's pretty much as
Yeah.
Ward 4 is currently,
Yeah, it's current.
includes this chunk.
Yeah, sure, just like that.
That would change Ward 2,
Don't change your numbers a whole lot.
no, it's still within, the only one outside of the 5%
3.
is, yeah. Ward 3 is at negative 579.
So Ward 3 is small. Or-
Yes.
Okay.
Because Eddie.
Just incorrect. These need to turn up New Shop Island Road.
Excuse me?
New Shop
you
Island
have
Road,
that?
all straight line down it, everything
Yeah.
on the west side, you can go to Ward 3.
Huh?
I know.
Any correct
No.
I know.
change?
We're gonna correct it back. if we can.
So from 3,
How many does Ward 6 have?
sorry, Ward 6 currently is 10,175.
So that gets everyone except Jonathan in their ward.
Yes, currently, this is Ward 4.
And I did use plexiglass laying over the map and dry erase markers and lots and lots and lots of math. So I know offhand that Jonathan's block is like 804 people. How do you split that if you were even to try to accomplish that? Because it looks like we have to move massive amounts of people.
You have to get the layer on to see where he's at
Those,
Yeah,
to address
That's
that.
804 people, so it's not like,
I just wanted their
it's not
consent to do that.
negligible.
Gotcha.
You'd have to know how many you were putting in each.
Do you want us to do the layer, what she's saying, or?
I
That's,
mean.
I don't
more.
have to if you don't want me to.
Okay.
I
You know,
I know
said
where you're
that-
at.
Okay.
that
You know,
it makes sense to me.
Here.
What you have here now makes sense to me. And one reason I asked that we forward it on is I was the only one that I was aware of that would be in a position of being in a different ward.
In this version with this adjustment that's been made, I would suggest getting that 579 in Ward 3, making that up a little bit, probably from Ward, well, you can't do it from Ward 4.
How about Ward 6 at the very top up there? Like I said, the north part of Ward 3 at 6, that corner, that is at New Chapel Island Road to the west.
Right there, all of that.
Yes, sir.
Let's see, I don't know, that may be too much, but
It might be too much, but
It's 154.
I think it's 530.
It's Alexandria place.
it's
Alexandria
530
place.
something.
Okay.
So that gets Ward 3.
Yeah, that adjusted that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we're under for 6, so
Which
you
is-
could move.
Move some from Ward
5
5 or 4 back into 6.
or 5, that's up to 6.
Can you show us a little further north on this map, please? Yeah.
yeah, Ward 6 is 675 short.
So let's go back down toward the
Is
Main
Fountain,
Street.
is Fountain Brook in Ward 5?
It is. It's
Yeah, it's
6
in-
on this map.
6 on this map.
Where did you like me to go? I'm sorry.
How about that square between Wards 4 and Ward 6, that blue square right there? It's about 3 to 6, that one right there. Just curious.
Yeah, that might do it.
This whole thing,
Yes, sir.
Where is that?
that is in the.
That's
shop
That would
city.
be,
That's
yeah,
one,
that'd be
but it
the-
also includes those apartments, so-
The streets, the gatherings,
Mhm.
all of
And
that,
the looks.
all the way to stop 30.
It cleans it up on the lines. I mean, if you're looking at the dividers there.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, now that's good. That's good.
You drive down the road and say.
That
"Oh,
one-
Now you're.
That's about 700 people, but that evens it out.
Yeah, that's closer. That's all within the
Ward
margins.
6 has one of the highest growth areas.
Now it's back within the margins.
5.
5 and 6 in the growth areas, just now.
Okay, so everybody's in their margin.
Yeah.
They're
Let's go.
in your margin number.
Yes.
I can't.
I'll
see it.
zoom out, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, it's all within margins of close to what it already was before. Yeah. And that brings Ward 6, that boundary to the far east is stop 30 road. Over on the other side of the road is the water tower. Yeah, right up there, yeah. And with this adjustment, this brings you back into the ward, Chairman Brown, that you were in, and then it evens out the numbers as far as the differences, the highs and lows for this one.
Would you, I'm looking at the redistrict map. The committee already recommended moving Alexander Place
Yes,
and Pembroke from us over to 3.
yes, it did. It did. Yeah, they had, I think Ward 3 I think we can pull it up, but I think the redistricting committee, I think that's exactly what Ward 3 had, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
I'm
was
just
it?
saying. this
Okay.
real
What
quick.
about the Rockland Road? Rockland Road,
It's all Ward 1.
Yeah,
yeah, it should go.
You
on
would have
to
pulled up the
Ward one.
redistricting committee.
yeah, pull up that. Let's just
Pretty
see
much all
it.
commercial now anyways, Rockland Road is.
Maybe a dozen homes.
Yes. I was there before the city became the city, some of those. homes.
Let's just see.
Long time.
No, yeah, yeah,
Very similar. to
very
Ward
similar.
3.
Yeah, okay.
6 just includes this little.
It dipped down a little bit. It dipped
that-
down.
It
to
includes
Rockland.
this chunk.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was very, very similar. So that's very similar. The main differences are really the peninsula. It's that yellow and then Ward 1 and 4. So that's the main differences between the redistricting committee and at this point, the general committee recommendation.
For the big changes.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna get to stare at it some more in about an hour and a half or 2 hours here, so if I want to stare at it anymore, talk more about it now.
I just have one question. If we went with this map, it was so convoluted when our attorney tried to describe to us what would be some aldermen being at large, some running for 2 years, some running for 4 years. I never understood it completely. Did anybody understand it?
Well, the way the map was handed to us, Wards 2 lost, I'm sorry,
You behave.
I apologize.
And
It's okay.
I apologize, Mr. Chairman. But Ward 2, both aldermen are out. You have no seated alderman once you take that map they drew up. We're both out. Lee told me, said, well, I'm in Ward 4 or whatever ward that is. I said, well, I'm back in I'm over in Ward 1. So
No,
if
they're
you
not
follow
trying
Keith
to-
Whitley's, what he said you should not draw lines that take a person out of their zone or their district. He said, if you want to lose, you need to lose at the ballot box to move them out. You shouldn't do it with a pencil and paper on a map. I said, well, okay, Mr. Whitley, I agree 100% with you on that. So that's why I went back and tried to make maneuvers, tweaks, which we've done, and we're real close to what they had it. But I actually put everybody back except for Jonathan. And if we can figure out a way to massage that map and move those people around to accommodate that, I said, let's do it. Because our own district attorney said, you shouldn't cut anybody out of their district.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Did you at that meeting Saturday morning?
I read a quote from him.
Did you go to that meeting?
No, sir, I didn't. But
I asked
my
you.
daughter was in from Chicago and my grandbaby was at the house and I had
That's
things to
okay.
do with them. I didn't, so
But I just-
family time was my time on that day.
Okay, we're gonna discuss this later. I got a feeling about as in depth as we discussed it before. So we're gonna move on to
I'm gonna say that.
a discussion if time allows. I want to make sure there is time allowed. I want to have a discussion on beautiful Hendersonville starting up again.
Oh,
We have a lady that is from Ward 5 who's contacted her alderman. There's potential spam calling me again, I tell you.
Tell them to leave you alone.
She is interested in seeing that go again and getting a force going to do that. So I'll let her alderman start the conversation a little bit. I have called her. I have not received a return call, but I only did that today because I knew there wouldn't be time to discuss it in depth, but I want to invite her to the December meeting. So, but kind of like to know how this group feels about it, what general committee feels about it. And we've got a little bit of time to talk about it. So, Rachel.
Oh, well, what I really appreciated about our phone call is she told me that she had called here and spoken, I think, to Public Works, and she never even told me what her initial complaint or problem was. She just said, through that conversation, I realized we don't have this anymore, and I used to chair it. I think it's time for you to step up. I need to help fix this. And I really appreciated somebody coming to me with a solution instead of a problem and volunteering to be the one to do the work. And she's done it before, so she knows what she's getting into. And I think if we decide to go down this road, we just will need to, the lot of us, figure out exactly what we want their goals and responsibilities and any limitations that we have and how we should handle financing them and appointing them or But if, to what extent we want them to have control or us.
Can I ask who it is?
Yes, Kathy Pascal.
That's right.
Okay, all right. She must have been prior to me because I was a liaison on beautiful Hendersonville for what, 3 or 4 years?
Mhm.
And we gave them, we, through the city budget, they were allotted $6,500 a year as part of their budget. And we did some really great things. We did the flowers on the bridges. We did the flags. We did the yard of the month, where Home Depot would come and give them a I think it was a $50 gift card. They got their picture taken with their whole family on the front of their house.
She wants to reestablish a lot of those very
We
same
did
things.
we did the banners that you see in the center mediums for Hendersonville banners. That was a big project that we're able to do. There's, for some reason, not enough banners now, but anyway, that was one of the projects. We did cleanup with, we partnered with Green Village Recycling for a cleanup day, once or twice a year in the Memorial Park. And we didn't do Drake Street, but Memorial Park we did. But those were some of the projects that we did.
All
And,
positive projects. Ms. Dixon?
She answered my question. I have no idea what beautiful Hendersonville even
Did-
is. We're talking about it. Nobody's stated the objective of what the work is.
Yeah.
Mayor
Thank you.
Clary
Yeah.
did tell me that in the past few months, he has had times where he wished that committee was still around because different groups have contacted him wanting to pick up trash and he's just kind of like, go
Who's this?
coordinate something.
Sorry.
Mayor Clary. He said that he has wished that we had that. Somebody to organize the community who wants to help pick up litter would be helpful. So, and I know there's been some issues with medians that Mayor Clary and I talked about, and Jesse, I don't know if you talked with him about that, but maybe they could help us with figuring out, I'm not sure what the solution is there, but they could help us maintain some of these medians that are problem.
This, for all practical purposes, would be starting a brand new committee up, even though we know what the old committee did over a period of time. Their scope at one time was this big, and then it got this big, and then quite frankly, I think it probably got too big.
Yeah,
So I think it needs to go back
you're right.
to this big. It's a positive committee. You know, so everything that happens out of the committee is positive. Trash pickup, flowers, banners, yard of the month,
Mhm.
It would be hard to argue with anything they want to do. And which we argue
Yeah,
very
and we
well.
arranged for a little Christmas thing for our last BOMA meeting in
Yep,
December.
yep.
We'd have not contract, but we call one of the schools and they'd have their choral group here and sing maybe 3 or 4
Yeah.
Christmas carols, and then have punch and cookies.
I think they decorated the Christmas tree in the lobby, didn't they?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Decorate the
decorated that,
Christmas tree
yeah,
in
the
the
Christmas
lobby.
tree in the lobby.
It's not my first year here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
and Kathy talked about possibly even, I don't know if we did this in the past, but give awards to, for Christmas decorations.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like yard of the
maybe.
month and for Christmas, we
Yeah,
did do
yeah.
that.
Okay.
That was one of the yard of the month things in the winter months for Christmas.
We will need to decide as a general committee. It sounds like it will be a positive thing to do, and she'll come and express her feelings and we'll address those. The amount of committee members, I mean, just like establishing any other committee, service committee for the citizens. We'll need a liaison and so on and so forth. So just ponder that between now and December. She'll get a hold of me and I will ask her to meet. Probably what I'll do is ask her, maybe me and Rachel and Jonathan, or me and Rachel, where we don't have to meet ourselves. Some ladies don't like to do that. So, and just have a discussion. But if she's excited about doing something like that.
She's a
I'm sure
great lady. She's
she can-
she's
she
a
can
leader.
fire some other
She's
folks
so
up.
positive and upbeat. I hope we
good.
can do
Her
something.
husband's only a fair golfer. Unless he's retired, he's the pro at Gaylord. So I don't know if it's retired yet. or not. He hit a pretty good golf ball. Anybody else got anything to add on that topic? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor to adjourn? Aye.
Thank you all.
And we get the scouts involved.